Welcome to Business Works, ladies and gentlemen. And this is our episode 8, where we are going to talk about something really special that is really important to talk about these particular days. And if you haven't seen our shows and if you're just tuning in, Business Works is all about spreading knowledge and making you understand more about businesses and business-related topics. And I'm Angelo Leeson, your host, and today we will be talking about something really special. I have seen this topic discussed in so many forums, so many business forums, as well as some company, these forums that we see where small businesses and small to medium-sized businesses where they have internal conversations about. And I thought this is the best topic to talk on our 8th episode, sales. Since so many businesses are struggling today because of this virus situation, the pandemic, and some companies are closing down, unfortunately. And the other thing is sales is completely hard. And some people might think that doing sales or selling to their customers is getting a bit frustrating. So we thought of talking about the future of sales, how it will look like in the future and what will change and how to sell. That's extremely important, isn't it? So we invited 2 special guests all the way from Florida to talk about sales. So they have been selling things and doing workshops about sales for many years. So I thought, why not inviting these 2 special guests? So first of all, I would like to introduce you to Bob, all the way from Florida, and then Emi. And both of them are working closely with Infinity, and they are doing a rebranding now. But let's talk about the rebranding of Infinity later on a later show. But today, it's all about sales. So let me get our guests connected to our studio. So welcome, Bob. Thank you very much for joining in today.
Thank you for having me, Angelo. I'm excited to be here.
So, Bob, just can you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do? Please, so our viewers get an idea about your work.
Yeah, I've been in sales for over 25 years and have sold many different products and services. And in the last 10 years, I began working directly with companies to use my experience and what I've learned in the past to help do sales training and customer service training. The experience for the customer is very important, and I found that it really, I do a lot of work in the automotive business, but I found that it applies to, many industries or all industries, just my approach anyway with just the basics of sales.
Perfect. And before I start our next segment, I would like to introduce you to our next guest, Emi, who's also working closely with Infinity. Let me get her connected to our studio now. Emi, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Angel? Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to have this panel with Bob and you. So it's very excited. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining in today, Emi. And can you let us know a bit about your work and what you do, and just for our viewers to get an idea as to who you are?
Certainly. So I'm actually originally from Tokyo, Japan, but currently living in sunny Florida, working as a quite journey from where I'm at this point. But I started from involved in customer service in the call center in the technology sector, all the way to doing the project management, program management in technology, as well as helping all the sales, pre-sales, and then sales closure for technology businesses. And now I also do working closely with Infinity working on the US operation and the business development to connect all the global enterprises and the businesses to be successful.
Perfect. And now, since all of you guys know who our guests are, let's go to our first segment. But before we go to our first segment, I would like to just inform you that if you haven't seen some of our programs, you can subscribe to our channel and you can watch all our previous programs basically on our channel. So make sure you watch all of them. There's loads of free knowledge for you to gain from these programs. And today, what we do is we will be talking about sales, and we want you to comment below of your thoughts, and let's have a more creative conversation where you can join in on our conversation. So the first segment is, so we are talking about sales, right? But what is sales? Everyone's talking about selling. Everyone's talking about sales funneling. If you haven't heard sales funneling, we're going to talk about it later on. But everyone's talking about sales. But what is sales? Let's find out. So let me get back to Bob with this question. Bob, what is sales? We are talking about sales a lot, but what is it?
Sales is the purchase of any product or service. And in order for a sale to take place, the value must overcome the cost. We all are going to have different objections or values that we perceive. So, and it's also going to depend on if this is a need or a want for us. But the basic is just creating that value for the customer. Customers will buy when they see a perceived value. I believe we all have products that we have bought or paid more for than others would. So creating that value is one of the first things you need to do. Actually, in order to need the value, the first thing you need to do is create the need. If I don't have a need for a product or service, the cost and the value is not going to matter. So after the need is created, then we have to build the value in order for that to take place. Right. And there's a lot of different ways to sell those, that we can get into as well. But that's the basic, is just creating the need and then presenting the value to the customer.
Right. And when you talk about sales, when we say, okay, what is sales? Is it also, like I have a specific question for this, like sales and marketing, some people say it goes hand in hand, but is it correct that it goes like it's very linked together, right? So what are the differences between sales and marketing? Some people tend to misunderstand that sales is also marketing. So I think it's different, but I don't know what you think, but I want to know what you think actually, Bob.
That's a really good question. To me, sales would be the actual purchase of the product or service, and marketing is generating that buzz or that, getting people to be interested in your product or service. So I think marketing, especially with social media and different outlets, that marketing is just presenting yourself, building your brand or your reputation, putting your product or service out there. So the marketing is going to be getting that, piquing that interest with your clients, getting the customer knowledge, because there's a lot of great products out there, but if they're not marketed well, no one's going to ever know about your product. They're not going to purchase that product if it's not marketed well. Then once it's marketed, then you get on into the sales side, and then you have to create a great experience for that customer to be able to make that purchase in an easy fashion.
So, and then I'm going to go back to Emi as well to get her view on sales. So, Emi, what do you think about, do you have anything to add to what Bob said in terms of what sales is?
Yeah, I actually, Bob has a pretty great point about the sales, and also Angela's also question regarding to marketing. I think partially, it's a hand to hand. But again, the marketing is for how you present it, how do you capture the audience and target make it to the goal line where you have actual good product, or how you present it, how you capture customers, attention. So I think that's really, that's improving the performance, that could be using social media. That could be something just to even have like a simple like commercials. Just really capturing what they need as well as how it's presented. So it's a slight difference, but in the end, customer only have a short span of like how you purchase and how you understanding the marketing. So I think for me that's it's a little bit hand in, but it's a slight differences.
Right. And when I actually go through sales methods, so what I personally understand is there's a lot of communication involved in sales. So, what do you guys think? Let's go back to Bob and say like communication and sales, Bob. Like when you talk about sales, communication is a vital element in sales, isn't it? So, how do you think that communication, the way you communicate, will like help sales, or will it is there an effect? Basically, that's what I want to know. Like, is there an effect in terms of communication and sales? The way you communicate can
Definitely.
change
And I
things?
think a lot of times you just need to, you kind of need to see yourself as the customer and you need to relate to them. People buy from who they like and they trust, and they want to feel comfortable making that purchase. So the more comfortable they are with you, you want to build that rapport. And in many industries, it's, when you're meeting with that person, and I know a lot of things nowadays are being done by, online, but face to face is obviously the best way because you can build that rapport. I've talked to other salespeople that said they're really having challenges now because they can't, they're not having these meetings or these conferences where they can get together. So it's making it more difficult now for people to build that rapport because now you're on a Zoom call or online. So it is more difficult. But I think when you do have that connection with that customer, I know that whenever I'm working out in the field or working with businesses, you just strike up a conversation with someone and you find that common bond and that interest. And then that person feels like your friend or feels like someone that, wow, Bob understands me and, I want to do business with him. So I think it's just a matter of communication is very key, because I think there's times that, even myself, I have a certain way of communicating. And if I meet someone that is not as social or as chatty, then it's hard. Somebody that just wants facts and figures to make a purchase. But definitely communicating on that same level as the customer is what you want to do. There are ways to, look at different personality traits, but that's, you're getting pretty advanced when you get into those types of things to see if they're, what their personality is. But you can listen to keywords that they say. If they say, tell me about something or show me something, make sure you either present that to them or, just tell them what they want to hear with, give them the response they want in the fashion they want to. So yeah, communicating is definitely important, and getting on their level to make that
Right.
build that rapport.
Like, since we are talking about communication now, we are talking about conversations, communications, and now I have a very specific question. I have met several salesmen, and when we had a conversation with a couple of salesmen, we feel that during these conversations there are some marketing elements happening there in these conversations. Now I want to know, now since we are talking about conversations and the way we communicate is important, and we also talk about marketing and sales, there can be an element of marketing while having a conversation with a salesman. Is that correct? And what do you think about that, Bob?
Definitely, I think as you're talking with that potential customer, that you are still marketing your product, you're marketing yourself. Again, you're building that rapport with the customer. You're trying to find out what that customer is looking for. You're trying to create that need. Because if I know the customer, if I hear, their per se hot button, then you can kind of key in on that element. If someone's looking for a certain product or service, or you're trying to find out, are they replacing something? Is this something new? It's really, you are marketing your product. And so when someone does say, well, I'm looking for this, then you can then go in and say, you can be talking as just part of the conversation, said, well, my product or service does what you're looking for, and word it in a fashion it's just part of a conversation. You're not trying to sell anybody anything, but you've told me you needed X, and my product or service does that. So we want to make sure that it is, so yeah, you're actually marketing as well along the way. You know, you're building value in that product or service that you're offering to the customer. So you want them to see that, oh, wow, I just told him I needed something, and now he's telling me that he has it. Another great thing to do is kind of say those types of things. You know, I understand you're looking for X. You know, did you know that, you know, our product does X, Y, and Z? Or here's the benefit of you having X. You know, you really want to talk about the benefit of the product as well. When you sell just a feature, many people sell features, but people are looking for the benefits. You know, insurance is a feature. I don't buy it to have insurance. I buy it for the benefit of safety for my family. You know, so there's different types of sales, and many salespeople sell the features. You know, they sell the fancy house or the fancy, you know, the vacation. You know, there's many things that they sell. Sell me the benefits. You're going to have a great experience if you buy the, you go on this vacation. You're going to be looked upon as successful if you buy this home. Those are the benefits, and those are the things you want to look at whenever you're marketing and having that discussion with the customer.
Perfect. And we are going to talk a bit about the tips and tricks that you can use to sell or to become a really good salesman. And this will be in our second segment. And before we go to our second segment, we will be going for a quick break. And before we go on the break, this is like a chain reaction, right? Before we do that, before we do this, we are going to do this. Yep. Just make sure you subscribe to our channel. So you get all the new, if you subscribe and press the notification icon, then you'll get notifications on all our upcoming shows, which is important, so you'll know what are the shows that you want to watch, or maybe you want to share some of these shows. So you might think that some of these topics will help some of your friends or your colleagues. So yeah, make sure you press the notification icon as well. So we will be back after this break.
At Fit to Trip, we want to offer travel insurance to as many people as possible. But all travel insurance companies want to do that, right? Well, no. If you suffer from a disability or have a medical condition, you may find that you're not covered by your current travel insurer. Deep in the small print, you'll see that most travel insurance policies will not cover medical or cancellation claims if you've suffered from or have an existing medical condition, like, for example, diabetes, heart disease or cancer. Fit to Trip is different. We use our online medical screening system to assess customers based on their medical condition and their destination, and provide them with travel insurance tailored individually, which covers them and their medical conditions whilst they're travelling. By just answering a few questions, you can get an instant quote from a choice of products that provide some of the highest cover levels in the market. So, enjoy travelling, safe in the knowledge that you and your family have that extra protection. Fit to Trip. Travel insurance to fit you.
This is my dad. He was once a bubbly, happy and positive person. He had been a cancer patient for many years. When I was younger, I remember our long winter walks, the fun times in the park, and all of those hilarious jokes. After recovery, He was constantly tired, demotivated, and closed off. I didn't see the amazing smile anymore. That's when I developed my first well-being range using what my mom used on me as a kid, coconut oil. I incorporated coconut oil with my extensive research in aromatherapy oils to help improve his mood. So I gave him a moisturizer, diffuser, and candle, which we named Caribbean Mood. I saw a difference in him, and I saw the amazing smile he used to have. I knew I had to share this with the world. Okay, giving the organic lifestyle you deserve.
Welcome back to Business Works, episode 8. These are season 2, and if you haven't watched all of our previous shows, make sure you watch them. And we have some amazing topics. We had some amazing topics, of course. And you can watch all our videos if you go to our channel. And while you're watching it, make sure you subscribe. All we can do is, like, we love our community, and we want to have a conversation with our community, share knowledge, and maybe have a discussion with our community. And that's why we have Business Works live talk shows. And in all these topics, we focus on relevant topics for businesses in the relevant timelines. Like these days, we feel that so many people are struggling with sales. And that's why we thought of talking about sales on today's show. And before we go to our next segment, I would also like to inform you all that if you're interested in placing your adverts in our show, write to us. You can look at our ticker. All our information is there. You can email us. You can comment down below on our YouTube video. And if you want to feature in our show, we also provide some slots to feature certain businesses. So all you have to do is write to us, comment, and then we can go through your details, and we can let you know if we have a timeline. We can feature some of you guys, not everyone, of course, but we'll try to help as many businesses as possible at this troubling and rough times. But now we are talking about sales. We had a conversation with Bob and Emi about what did we speak about? What is sales? So if you missed it, you can also come back and watch the show after the stream. All right, so remember that. And subscribe so you won't miss any of our shows. So now we will be talking about some tips, sales tips, which is really, really important for you guys. If you are a person who likes selling or wants to become a salesman, or struggling with sales, you might learn something new in this particular segment. So, sales tips. Let me connect Bob, and let's start with talking about sales tips. Bob, so
Yes.
tips about selling. How do we start this segment? You can. It's over to you. Give us some tips.
Well, I think, again, as we talked in the first segment, it's about creating the need. You can also find out, just from having a conversation with your, potential customer or client, is this a need or a want for your customer? If they have the need, they're much more likely to make the purchase. If it's just a want, then it's something they'd like to have, but they may not have the finances, or there may be other things that would come into play before they make that purchase. So, when you have that conversation with the customer, if you find out, it being a need, then again, we go back to creating the value. A want may be something that, I just like to have this. And, people buy a lot of wants, they buy, the nice clothes or the nice car, those are wants. Again, I do a lot of work in the automotive industry, but if someone comes in looking for a car, do they need to replace what they have, or they're just looking to get, a new toy, a sports car, possibly? So you have that conversation with the customer to find out. That can also determine, their level of purchasing power, because if someone has a need, they've got to make that purchase, whether it's with you or someone else. So you have to create the value for that customer so that they are going to want to purchase from you, your product or service. And people are afraid to ask a lot of questions. What did you have budgeted for this? Or what are you looking for today? You need to ask a lot of probing questions. I think that, our customers are programmed to say, well, I don't have money, or I'm just looking. And that's okay. Obviously, if someone sticks around or you have the ability to ask them questions, and that's when you have to, begin to develop that rapport. We all get told no, and you can't, you can't take that personal. So get used to being told no in the sales game. It happens, quite a bit. And a lot of times a no is a great thing to hear, because now you've got an objection. And then as you get more advanced in your sales, you can learn to overcome those objections. When somebody says they don't have money, or that's too much, well, does that mean you don't have the money to purchase a service, or you think you can get that service at a better price? So it's a lot of things to consider. And I think that the key is, just like you said earlier, is communication. Make sure you open that dialogue with the customer and ask open-ended questions. Don't ask yes or no questions. Get them to tell you more. And again, that's going to build that rapport, and that customer is going to feel more at ease. And they may tell you something that that will be a great closing for you, because that you can provide that product or service they're looking for based on what they've told you. They may say it's something they need right away, or they need because of this. That's a great way to tell the customer, well, I can take care of you today. We can get this wrapped up. I can get this product or service for you immediately. I see that you need this, and quite quickly.
Right. And if we go back to Emi, we'll see whether she have to add something to what Bob said. So Emi, what do you think, what Bob said, and any tips that you want to add to what just Bob said?
Yes, so I think I have a little bit a different approach to that, of course, depending on what product you are selling to. Again, my background is really working with the technology and emerging technology, so it's really not just a one-to-one thing. So my thing is really having a good listening approach, as well as flexible, and also being out-of-box thinking. Because, for example, my experience, I work in for technology sales as well. In that case, each of the customer may have a different item that they need. If you just one box fit all, may not work for them. So what are the flexibility that we can provide? Can we do technology just add in new code to make it a little custom, or is it something that we need to create brand new, but the rest of the customer might be able to benefit all that. So all those needs and values come into play. So to me, it's like listening, asking, and being flexible with the out-of-box thinking. I think that, from my perspective, help a lot of customers and sales perspective and salespeople to be able to make that closing.
Perfect. And when we talk about sales, there are some people that when they explain about sales, they say try not to sell, but have a connection with your potential customer, and you'll get a sale. So Bob, what do you think about that particular statement? I have heard this from several salesmen, where they say that they usually don't try to sell, but to have a conversation and a connection with your customer. So you learn something new about them, and then there's more chance for you to sell your product that way. What do you think about this?
No, absolutely. Like we discussed earlier, I think it's building that rapport. I've met salespeople before that I wanted to buy something from them, but they didn't have the product or service I was looking for. But you just have that connection. You're like, man, I want to help this person out, or I really wish they had what I wanted because I'm looking for new shoes or a new car or this service. So it's definitely great to build that rapport with the customer, and I think that you're selling yourself as much as anything. And I think by again, like you said, building that rapport, that connection, just have a conversation. You don't have to sell. I think people that, obviously there's still salespeople out there where they do the pressure or the hard sell. You got to do this today, or the price is going to go up, or if you don't, that's just not my style. Like Emi had just said that, we have many different selling styles and techniques, and everyone is different. And there are some people that need to be told, you need to buy this. Other people would much rather be, you always have to ask for the sale at the end. But some people need to be, I don't want to say pressured, but you have to say you need to do this because they're reluctant to make purchases. But most people in general, I think they just want to feel good about the experience and make sure that they're getting the product or service they desire, so that at the end they don't have buyer's remorse. You want it to be a good experience for the customer, so that they're going to tell their friends, give you referrals. So, that's how you build your base, and you grow your sales in the future without having to market yourself as much, because your clients are doing it for you when you've built that rapport and they love your product or service.
And when you're talking about tips and tricks and what to do, right? I was just thinking, what's the worst type of methods that you have come across within your experience? Like maybe you have some experience where, okay, I have seen one of the worst salesmen ever, right? And what do you think, Bob? Have you experienced some kind of traits, personality traits, or a kind of selling method that you completely thought that it's okay, this is really, really bad, this is not going to be effective? Let's talk about the negative points. Yeah.
Yeah, the worst is, when they are disrespectful to their potential customer. I had someone one time that was looking for a product, and that it was a person that actually came to their home, and the person was disrespectful, just throwing their keys on the table and acting like they didn't even want to be there. So I know we all have bad days, but you have to be respectful of your customer or client. Let them, you got to make them feel special, or let them know that we all have, like I said, we all have bad days. But you have to put a smile on your face and enjoy it, and pretend like this is the greatest thing in the world. And really, you should believe in your product or service, or you shouldn't be selling it. If you wouldn't buy that product or service yourself, you're probably in the wrong game, because we convey things to our customers. If I'm selling a product and I want to discount it, I've just devalued that product or service. I've said, well, it's not really worth what I'm asking you, because I'm going to give you a discount. And so I think customers can see that. So you have to make sure that you get that across to the customer as well. That's probably the worst I've seen. But I think the big one that I see a lot of times is, you have to buy this today or the price is going to change. Okay, right. Well, that's the one I hate. That's the worst one.
Right. And let's go back to Emi and see what she has to say about some negative ways of doing sales. So Emi, do you have any experience or any thoughts about what not to do, or what are the worst ways of doing sales?
Sure, certainly. So the worst thing I ever seen is more like someone who's actually reading a script, especially now, with the COVID, a lot of times you do the virtual calls or just the regular phone calls, and you could tell that there's absolutely no emotion about it, or they don't know, or they're not feeling confident about the product. So in that point, I'm looking, I'm putting my customer's hat, and if you can't answer the question, that's really bad. So for the salespeople, really, even sometimes some of the enterprise do have script, but be able to do some ad lib and then be able to understand what the product is and be able to answer some of the questions. So have a little bit of preparations, a little bit of study will definitely help with salespeople. So, and of course, again, look at my sales experiences in the technology perspective. So, salesperson may not be as technology savvy, but, asking some of the questions, write it down, the common question that coming from the customers or potential customers, and then ask the sales support team or technicians so you can actually be able to answer some of the questions. And those are really good tips that I have. And again, reading script is one of the worst thing I haven't seen. So.
Right. And since Amy spoke a bit about technology, we will be talking about the future of sales and how the technology will play a part on this new ways of doing sales. That we will be talking about, talking after this particular break. But beforehand, if you're just joining in, make sure you subscribe, press the notification icon so you get all the information or notifications of our upcoming shows. And you can also watch all of our past shows in our YouTube channel. So make sure you watch this, and if you have missed our show and if you're just joining in, you can watch the whole show after we complete our stream. But make sure you keep watching our live stream because you get to ask live questions and you get answers live. So make sure you write down your questions down below in our comment section, or you can use our social media channels to ask questions, and we will be having a special segment just to answer your questions. But before that, we will be going on a quick break. We'll be back after this quick break.
AI Infinity really is about helping companies to enable them to use AI at the optimum level and to be more AI-driven companies to solve complicated use cases about the fraud, an example, or maybe customer engagement, facial recognition, and we just wanted to help them to be that. We would see ourselves as visionaries in detecting some edge computing on a very real-time basis of applications what we have here to enable companies to apply in different verticals.
At Fit to Trip, we want to offer travel insurance to as many people as possible. But all travel insurance companies want to do that, right? Well, no. If you suffer from a disability or have a medical condition, you may find that you're not covered by your current travel insurer. Deep in the small print, you'll see that most travel insurance policies will not cover medical or cancellation claims if you've suffered from or have an existing medical condition, like, for example, diabetes, heart disease, or cancer. Fit to Trip is different. We use our online medical screening system to assess customers based on their medical condition and their destination, and provide them with travel insurance tailored individually, which covers them and their medical conditions whilst they're travelling. By just answering a few questions, you can get an instant quote from a choice of products that provide some of the highest cover levels in the market. So, enjoy travelling, safe in the knowledge that you and your family have that extra protection. Fit to Trip. Travel insurance to fit you.
Welcome back to Business Works, episode 8, where we are talking about sales, the future of sales, to be precise. And we were talking about, we had two segments. We were talking about sales, what is sales basically. And then we were talking about, we were giving some tips and tricks, right, to sell and how to be a good salesman, or how to sell and how not to sell. And if you missed it, if you're just joining in and if you missed it, you can watch the show after the stream. So make sure you subscribe and press the notification icon so you get all the notifications on upcoming shows. And if you want, if you're interested in placing an advert on our show, write to us, email us. All the information is down below on our ticker. You should be seeing that ticker right now. So we are on social media as well as Tail Media. We will be opening a separate social media page for Business Works as well. And if you are interested in featuring on our show, write to us, email us, comment below, and we will get back to you. Hopefully get some of you businesses featured on our show. And right now we are talking about sales. So if you have any comments about what we are talking about right now, join in on our conversation. Comment below. Drop your questions, most importantly, if you have any specific questions. And now we are talking about something really important. World is changing, and we experience this change, like recently with the lockdowns, and how the environment is impacting our lives, and how the technology is impacting our lives, and this will definitely impact the way we do sales, don't you think? That's what we are going to talk about right now. How will it impact? How will it change? How will the future look like for salesmen, or when you do sales? How will it change? And how are we going to prepare ourselves to face these changes? For that, I'm gonna get Emi connected back to our studio. Emi, there will be so many changes. There are so many changes right now. And how sales would look like in the future? What are the changes? What are the differences? What are the new technology that's emerging that will help, or that will make it hard to sell, or make it hard for sales? But let's talk about all these elements. First of all, is there a change happening right now? What do you think?
Yes, Angel, definitely sales trend, and also the audience, how they actually purchase product is completely changing. And everyone is actually, of course, have a smartphone or tablets and some sort of devices that on your hand. So many of the users are very, very savvy nowadays. So they can do all the research from a tablet or your smartphone. So the purchase trends definitely changing with the technology for sure.
And adding just a quick addition to what she just said. So we at Tail Media, we do promotions as well. We do adverts as well for companies. And during this past, I would say 6-7 years, we noticed this change as well. So let me give you a some quick pointers as to how we noticed it. So when we started, when we talk about video adverts, these are mainly telecasted on television. But then when social media took over, most of the adverts that we produced was for online platforms like YouTube, like Facebook. So it completely changed the game. And you can actually focus on particular customer segments rather than television. So you know who's watching it, who's clicking it, and you know the return of your investment. So we saw that change. And I know that it keeps changing. Even in game engines, there are marketing material and sales ways of selling. So that's why we thought of talking about the future of sales. So as you said, Emi, like there are now different, let's say, software or platforms that are helping sales or driving the way we did sales into a different level. But at the same time, I would also like to add that maybe a quick question to Bob. Will the basics of sales change in the future? What do you think, Bob, as a person who has done workshops for so long and who has such a lot of experience in sales? During this time period, the fundamentals, let's say the fundamentals of sales, has it changed?
I think the fundamentals are still going to be the same, but making that purchase may change. You're still going to have a need from the customer, and you're still going to have to build value for that sale to occur. So I still think that's going to happen, but the way you're doing it now, you're going to be doing it online as opposed to going in to an office or a store to make that purchase. So I see that's the changing thing, and I also see that it's still going to be, even online, as easy as it is for me to make a purchase and have it arrive at my doorstep in a day or two or a week. It still needs to be a simple process. I can tell you, even for myself, I like to go and see and feel the product or service or talk to the people in my sales. But recently, I've done much more purchasing online, and I've actually paid more for a product because one website was very difficult to navigate, and the other one had it in stock. They told me all the information, shipping fees, everything, and it would be delivered. It was going to take longer to deliver, but because it took so long to enter a credit card and all this information, I left that website and went to another one that was very easy to use and actually paid a few dollars more because I wanted the good experience and I was frustrated using the other website. So I think even though it's instant, we still have to make that process very simple for our customers and make it ease of use. Let me click one time instead of 7 because I'm going to get frustrated and I'm going to go somewhere else, or I'm not even going to purchase the product. So I see that changing that way, as at least for now, until we can get back out and see each other again.
Yeah.
I see that you still, but the basics are, I think, always going to be there. It's a need and creating the value. The customer has to see that value to want to make a purchase. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Now we know that the basics will be the same. Let's get back to Emi and look at what are the changes. So Emi, so now we know that there are the fundamentals will be the same, but what are the changes that are coming?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, know your target audience for your product, what you're selling for, right? For example, in Japan, in my background, uh, in the population in Japan, it's increasing huge increase in the elderly, and also, young people are like a shortage. So how do you market that? How do you sell that? So you want to make sure that know your target audience, and it's really important. And especially, even we have this fundamental sales process may not to change, but audience, like a user experience, must be easy, simple. There is a research about something called brain area 17. Whether you're young people or elderly people, everybody's only have 3 minutes less span when they go to purchase the product. So having said that, Bob said, make sure everything is simple, and it's easier to do things. And then same thing with the sales tactic. Make it clear, make it simple, easy steps, and those are really good key areas. And you should be able to target that good audience to capture what you're selling for.
And now we had a conversation before, Emi, about
Yeah.
using artificial intelligence, the use of artificial intelligence in sales. So we have some slides from you as well. So let's go
Yes.
to the AI element and this new technology that's helping the sales industry. So can I call it sales industry? But yeah, let's say sales industry for now. We are talking about sales, right? So what's emerging? What type of artificial intelligence, and how is it helping, Emi?
Absolutely. So as far as, Angela, you mentioned about the social media usage, right?
Yeah.
So today's world, whether it's Japan or US or Europe or any other continent in the world, everybody's using social media, whether it's a Facebook, Instagram. In Japan, they're huge on like the Line, or in China, they're TikToks and so on. All those data, a lot of data can be collected. But how do you make it to sales is getting all the analytics. So the AI can actually collect those information and actually be able to learn that. The machine learning can actually help you do the analysis in like a real time. For example, what we do is the AI chatbot. Someone like, let's say, take the Bob as an example for car dealership. In a traditional way, they might have a chat, but there's somebody actually sitting behind the desk to help you do the conversation. Instead, AI chatbot can actually do the automated intelligently to respond those questions that you have to be able to make a service appointments. Now that data can also translate to any analytics using like AI AI sentiment analytics, as well as like all the like social media, the comments that they're getting from the customers. Are they doing a good performance? Is the customer service was really excellent? All those things can be actually translated to technology, and then help sales folks to be able to make that better decisions, as well as the marketing that we talked about.
So I think, yeah, when you talk about culture, because different cultures have require different type of sales methods, isn't it? Like, so AI or artificial intelligence will help identify these differences, you say? Is that what you're trying to portray? Like, it
Yeah,
is
that
better
is
to use
correct.
AI?
So yeah, that is correct. And the AI can definitely help you, faster the process. And also, for example, an AI chatbot will be like cost effective for the customer. So, Bob was talking about how do you sell, what's the sales tip? That's one of the, like the benefits. So bring the benefits of all this automations and technology can help you better, sales. So I think it's to me called a three triangle point where technology is always a tool, but help all the people to make it efficient and better outcome. So that's how I see all the like technology can help all the salespeople to make the better decisions in the marketing as well.
Perfect. And what are the other ways that these kind of technologies can help in sales? Now, what you're trying to say is it's like, all the good things that you can get from this new technology can be used, so we can have the human interaction as well and make it into a different level, so enhance the human experience as well, isn't it? And but what are the other things that we can bring into the table when it comes to these new technologies, artificial intelligence?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned about the targeted audience, right? So now I call it Generation Z, which is the millennium, you know, uh, generations. So those people are really more into smartphone technology, tablets constantly. So they wanted to make a shorter process, easiest possible. So having said that, this technology will give them like a very quick responses and be able to get efficient. And that will definitely like benefit like salespeople as well as a customer. Like you wanted to make sure short process and have but yet fun, easy app to go through.
Perfect. And what do you think about other technologies like virtual reality and MR, AR, and all these new emerging tech? Do you think that these people will also see a benefit in using these new technologies? Like, I've heard that there are,
Absolutely.
yeah, uh, you can, yeah, go ahead, please, Emi.
Yeah,
Do you
sorry.
think that it's,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. It's definitely helped. Like for example, I worked on some of the project where sales training. Now this VR technology, for example, Hololens, it's actually virtual reality, right? And then all the material where some of the veteran, experienced training person could not attend, but not be able to help, and they can actually completely different locations, having this lens put it on, be able to see intricate like details they can learn. So you know, in the end, like, you know, technology is always a tool to help people a better way, and then also, like, you know, not just cutting the cost, but it's also more easier in a real time, and then, you know, saving some time as well.
We will also have a very special show talking about the future of sales, and we will be talking about specifically about this new technology, where we will be focusing on the emerging tech and the implication of this emerging tech in sales. And we will also have other shows where we will showcase how the future will look like in terms of the social element. But before that, we will be going for a quick break because the next segment is our Q&A segment. So you still have time to place your questions down below, or use our social media channels to send in your questions. And I will catch you after this quick break.
AI Infinity really is about helping companies to enable them to use AI at the optimum level and to be more AI-driven companies to to solve complicated use cases about the fraud, an example, or maybe customer engagement, facial recognition, and we just wanted to help them to be that. We would see ourselves as visionaries in detecting some edge computing on a very real-time basis of applications what we have here to enable companies to apply in different verticals.
At Fit to Trip, we want to offer travel insurance to as many people as possible. But all travel insurance companies want to do that, right? Well, no. If you suffer from a disability or have a medical condition, you may find that you're not covered by your current travel insurer. Deep in the small print, you'll see that most travel insurance policies will not cover medical or cancellation claims if you've suffered from or have an existing medical condition, like, for example, diabetes, heart disease or cancer. Fit to Trip is different. We use our online medical screening system to assess customers based on their medical condition and their destination, and provide them with travel insurance tailored individually, which covers them and their medical conditions whilst they're travelling. By just answering a few questions, you can get an instant quote from a choice of products that provide some of the highest cover levels in the market. So, enjoy travelling, safe in the knowledge that you and your family have that extra protection. Fit to Trip. Travel insurance to fit you.
Welcome back to Business Works Season 2, Episode 8. We are talking about the future of sales. And this program is brought to you by Tail Media, produced by Tail Media. And if you are just joining in, we are answering your questions now. It's our Q&A segment. We are running a bit short on time, so I'm going to make a make it a quick segment. But before that, make sure you subscribe and comment down below. Share it with your friends and family, and make sure you press the notification icon so you get all our future notifications on our future shows. So we have two amazing guests, and we are talking about sales. We spoke about what sales is, and we gave some tips and tricks, and we also spoke about the future, what the future looks like, and the emerging tech behind sales that will help sales. And now the Q&A segment. We have selected 3 questions. The first question is from Olivia. What are the tech that will help sales in the future? Let me go to Emi. Emi, what do you think? What are the tech that help? We actually spoke about some tech. There are some other tech that you guys can come up with. Maybe Emi can give us an answer for this.
Yeah, certainly. Depending on what you mean, like different tech, but certainly, all the product you have, be able to do like application based, or all the item can be like seen in the websites or smartphones, tablet, just to make it sure it's compatible to everything else. Really the VR, it's always like connecting the dots between applications to VR. So just to kind of be aware what's out there, I'd be more than happy to, after the call, if you want to send me an email, I'll be more than happy to share some of the possibilities as well.
Perfect. And we'll share all their information of Bob's and Amy's contact details and all their emails and on their contact details down below after the show. So make sure you get all the information after the show. And we have another question. So, sorry, Olivia, hope you got your answer. And there's Mitch. What are the personality traits that helps a salesman? I'll direct this question to Bob. What do you think, Bob?
I think just being yourself. I think that's really key. I think if you try and put on a fake persona, people are going to see through it. Obviously, you want to be friendly and outgoing. Some salespeople are more aggressive than others. And you're going to find clients that are going to like, an aggressive person or less aggressive. So I think the key is just to be yourself and make it fun. This should be, it's a sales process. It's not something that everyone should, people complain that, oh, I hate buying this or buying that. It should be fun. You should make the process fun. And I always enjoy what I do. And when you're building that rapport with the customer, you're enjoying what you're doing. And so just be yourself and, ask the right questions and build that rapport and get on the same level with the customer, show empathy, let them know how you feel, let them know that you feel the same. There's a lot of ways to put yourself on the same level as your customer. But I don't think there's one particular personality trait. I think it's just a matter of, honing your skills as you move forward.
Perfect. Yeah, so it's all about being you, isn't it? So,
yeah, absolutely.
And there's another question. John, will the traditional sales methods disappear in the future? So, I'll start with Bob and then go to Amy. What do you think, Bob? Will the traditional sales methods disappear?
Well, the basics of it, of having a need and value is going to be the same. I think it's going to disappear is how those transactions occur. We have, people that are delivering products to your house, services. You can do everything online. So I think that's going to change. And I think that's where Emi comes in, is that, she can evaluate what products best fit that for consumers to be able to evaluate what products they're looking at, as well as for companies, they can look at the market, see their competition, and so they can, market themselves and place themselves in the market or brand themselves according to what, technology is telling them to do, using some of the software like Emi had discussed.
Right. And Emi, do you have anything to add to what Bob just said?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, the fundamental sales, the traditional sales, I don't think it's really going away, because I see that building the relationship with your client, that's always the case. Technology is always a tool to help salespeople and clients, right? So having said that, it's always technology cannot replace human, but to help in. So I think it's really creating like good like a rapport, which Bob said, and building relationship, and also understand the like culture as well. For example, like Japan has like really like the business culture where not technology first, but really building communication and relationship first. So, for example, like a face-to-face conversation, even though right now it's a COVID, we're not be able to physically get to point A to B, but having this virtual call to make sure face to face and things like that.
Yup, so we are just, how can we connect them back online? Is it? We have more questions, but the problem is we're out of time. But I hope you guys learned something new on today's show. We are going to bring both of them back on a separate show where we will be talking about the future, specifically about this new technology and how this new technology will use different type of sales methods. And thank you very much to both Bob and Emi for joining in today, and hope you guys, you as viewers, learned something new. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for having me.
And next week we will be having a really important show, which you will get to know if you press the notification icon and subscribe. And it will be something relevant for all the businesses. So make sure you subscribe now. And it's unfortunately our time is up for today. I hope you learned something new. I hope you got answers for your question, and specifically the question that Olivia asked, the future let me get back to that question real quick. So what are the tech that will help sales in the future? You will get a full answer later on in a different show, because that will where we will be focusing on all the new tech and how the sales methods will be applied to those new tech. But that's for a different day. But today I hope you learned something new, and I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you enjoyed the weather as much as we did. We are really hot right now, and we will catch you next week with a really, I would say, an important and exciting topic. Till then, have an amazing week. Take care and stay safe.